Before I start, when you guys sat down, or maybe the people standing in the back, you can just think about it in your head. But when you sat down, you should have had a marker and a paper on your chair. I just want you to take the first couple seconds to write down something that you really, really loved doing as a kid. So like you loved this. This was like your favorite thing when you were a kid to do. So take a couple seconds, think about it, and then just put the paper down and listen to me yap for the next 9 minutes. I turned 30 on Monday, which is very, very traumatizing. So I have 5 days left to get on any 30 under 30 list, if anybody knows of any. I have 5 days left to be 29, but I've been thinking a lot about how I got to where I am today and things that I've learned growing up. And one of the reasons I think I got where I am today was because I was an only child, which, some only children in the room. And another thing I learned about myself when I was a little girl was that I loved creativity. My parents were nice enough to let me dress up for school pictures all by myself. So polka dots, ribbons, multicolored, multicultural necklaces. It's just, I couldn't pile enough stuff on me. I loved creativity. I loved markers and coloring and being as expressive as I could. And I also loved other kids. I was totally an extrovert, again, because I was an only child. Unless I wanted to play by myself, alone all weekend, I had to make play dates with other kids to play with me, or else it was just like me and the Barbies hanging out, which was fun for a limited amount of time. My dad never wanted to play with me. So play dates were super important, and one thing I loved to do on play dates was craft, especially pen holders. There was like a couple years there where that was like my specialty, my go-to. My personal favorite was the cardboard pen holder, although I did do some popsicle sticks in the day. And why, play dates were so important was, again, I had to have people to play with. And one day my mom came to me after the play dates and she was like, Kim, where are all your markers and crayons going? And I did what every kid does, where it's like, what? What are you talking about? Who, me? But there's no one else to blame it on. And obviously my mom was like, it's you. There's no other kid in this house. So I was like, you're right, it was me. And I was like, well, I'm sending them home with all of my play dates because I can't send people home with pen holders with no like smelly licorice marker in the pen holder. Like they have to have the whole pen holder experience. And what I couldn't formulate to my mom at age 5 was I loved making people happy, and I loved surprising and delighting them and making them feel like that was the best play date ever. And out of all the other play dates, like that was the good play date. And I needed like good play date street cred so that they would then go tell their parents like, I want to go back to that play date compared to the other play dates. And then if it was a really good play date at lunch, they'd be like, you got to go to Kim Kaupe's house for the play dates because she gives away all of her markers. So the kids would come back and play with me. And that followed me throughout my life. I found a mentor early on, which I think all of you guys should do if you haven't already. And she worked in magazines. And at the time, I was like a horse with blinders. I just thought, wow, magazines are where you can be creative and make people happy, and you create these experiences that they bring into their home. And everything I did at that point on was all about magazines. All my internships were magazines. My college major, I never changed it. I was just magazines all the time. And so I was so excited. I finally graduate college, and I'm like, this is my chance. I've been working for this for like 10 years, like magazines, my dream come true. And then I graduated in 2008, which was like the worst time to try to get a job ever, especially in the creative field. It was just terrible. It was like the barren desert. And so it took me months. I like finally got a job, and it was actually for my mentor, and I was freelance because she couldn't even afford to hire me full time because you couldn't get the head count. And about 5 months in, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm doing it. This is great. And she was able to bring me on full time. So I'm like, this is it. I'm living my dream. And then they called 40 of us into a conference room. And I was like, this is awesome. We're meeting with like the CEO and like really important people. And I'm 8 months into my first job. I'm 22 years old. And they say, we're merging you with another magazine. And I was one of 6 people that was not fired out of the 45 that were in the room that day. So everybody was like wiped out all at once and escorted out of the building by security. And that's when I realized, like, oh, the real world is hard. And all of these images that I had in my head of this creativity and going back to the weirdo point, like getting to express yourself and doing all these cool things just wasn't the case. I was at Condé Nast. If anybody watched The Devil Wears Prada, that's true. It was really hard, and I just was kind of like, my dream is broken. I lasted there for another couple months, and I just left because I was searching for this way to be expressive and be creative and cause these really great experiences for people. So I took a job in the meantime, but I do believe everything happens for a reason, and that's where I met my co-founder, Brittany. And she had the same vision as me. She had come from the music industry, and she also just wanted something creative and fun and to create really cool experiences for people. And so we did that. We said, let's start a company, and we co-founded Zinepak in January of 2011, and we create marketing packages and magazines and books for superfans. And everybody has a little bit of superfan in them. At the time, I was a superfan of pen holders, but now it's Game of Thrones or the Florida Gators. Everybody has a little bit of superfan in them. And we created a company that celebrates that. And we created a company where everybody's having fun, again, all along the way. So this is my favorite example, a band we worked with, R5. That's my team with the band. This is our client who we made these special cookies for. The band's really excited, and then ultimately the fans really excited. And what we realized the magic sauce is again, what I had realized at age 5, which is if you surprise and delight people and people have a really fun time with you, they're gonna go tell other people what a really fun time they had with you because you have that great spirit. And I've realized that now my playdates are my clients. And when my playdates have a really fun time, they tell other playdates that they should come and play with us, which is really fun. These are just some fun examples. Scotty McCurry won American Idol. Brad Paisley is a country star, but now we've had playdates like Taylor Swift and Brad Paisley and Justin Bieber and all these great, amazing names that has been really, really cool and really, really fun to work with. But again, going back to that core value of having a really great time doing it. And when you're having a really great time doing something, the people around you naturally are gonna have a great time too. So the question that I want to leave you guys with is to look back on the card that you wrote down and what is something that you were doing as a kid that you really, really loved. For me, it was creativity and making people happy, but what's something that you did that's not incorporated into your life right now, and maybe how should it be? So thanks, guys.